Take a look at a massive apex predator navigating the dense jungle to hunt its next meal. Now, compare that to a primate, a creature built entirely for high-speed agility, swinging effortlessly through the forest canopy. Shift your focus to the ocean, where marine giants navigate the deep water with bodies adapted strictly for aquatic survival. Finally, step into total darkness to find an animal that navigates entirely by sound while in continuous flight. These organisms possess completely different physical bodies, survive in radically different environments, and rely on entirely separate diets. Yet, according to the strict rules of biology, all four of these animals, along with humans, occupy the exact same category. Hidden, ancient internal rules categorize the natural world, taking precedence over an animal's habitat or its diet. Scientists manage the staggering diversity of life on Earth using taxonomy, a universal filing system that sorts every known organism. This flowchart illustrates the system's overarching structure. It starts broad at the kingdom level, scaling down through phylum, class, order, family, genus, and finally the individual species. Focusing closely, we see the class rank sitting directly in the middle, below phylum and right above order. By definition, a class is a taxonomic category that groups together one or more related orders that happen to share several similar characteristics. This specific rank explains exactly why a tiger, a bat, a whale, and a human are locked in the same category. To understand how a class functions, we have to look at the smaller biological units that actually build it, starting from the bottom up. Looking at this comparison table, we can map biological groupings to a typical school system. Individual species act as individual students. Similar students form sections, which represents a genus, and similar sections form classes, representing a biological family. As we scale up, related families group together to form an order, much in the same way several academic classes might form an entire department. Finally, all of those related orders combine to form a single biological class, the equivalent of grouping many departments into an entire academic stream, like science or arts, all operating under the phylum, which is the whole school. Distinct academic departments form a single stream based on their shared educational goals. In biology, multiple distinct orders are united into a massive class based on shared foundational features. Take order Primata. These animals possess specialized evolutionary traits, well-developed brains, forward-facing eyes, and grasping hands with opposable thumbs. The primary animals that occupy this specific order are monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, and humans. Now, contrast that heavily with order Carnivora. These animals are built with entirely different equipment: sharp canine teeth, powerful jaws, and flesh-eating habits. This order holds tigers, lions, dogs, and cats. This split-screen model highlights the shared internal traits that force both of these distinct orders together. Despite the fangs and the thumbs, both animals possess mammary glands, maintain warm-blooded temperatures, grow hair, have external ears, rely on four-chambered hearts, and breathe using a diaphragm. Because these internal, physiological characteristics are present in both sets of animals, science ignores their differing diets and environments, locking both orders firmly into class Mammalia. This brings us straight back to the aquatic whale and the flying bat. A massive whale swims with fins and lives entirely underwater, but it is not categorized as a fish. It breathes air through lungs, maintains warm blood, and feeds its young with mammary glands. A bat flies using wings, but it is not categorized as a bird. It is covered in hair, has external ears, and gives birth to live young instead of laying eggs. This demonstrates the taxonomic role of diminishing similarities. As you move up the hierarchy from order to class, the sheer number of shared traits decreases, but the fundamental structural similarities that do remain are absolute. Ancient physiological blueprints, inherited from common ancestors, define exactly where an organism belongs, regardless of its habitat. Mammalia is only one section of the biological filing cabinet. Class Pisces covers the fishes, aquatic animals characterized by gills for respiration, fins for swimming, and a cold-blooded nature. Class Amphibia holds the frogs and salamanders, organisms adapted for a dual life on both land and water. Right next to them is Class Reptilia, containing snakes and lizards defined by their dry, scaly skin. Then we have Class Aves, holding all the birds, animals defined by feathers, wings, warm blood, and the laying of eggs. Every multicellular animal on Earth slots perfectly into one of these specific, defined classes. It builds an organized, predictable grid out of total biological chaos. This chart builds the exact taxonomic rank for a human. We start as the species Sapiens, in the genus Homo, moving up to the family Hominidae, into the order Primata, grouping into the class Mammalia, sitting within the phylum Chordata, and resting entirely inside kingdom Animalia. This system provides a single, universal standard. It allows scientists across the globe to accurately track evolutionary relationships and easily identify newly discovered species without confusion. Orders with common important features are always grouped together into a class. Biological classification proves that underneath the superficial differences of fur, fins, or feathers, life is deeply interconnected by the exact same